I'm really excited. Marco, kind of like, what were your reactions on Game Five? What were some of your takeaways?
Um, First of all, good game. It felt close the whole way through, even though the Thunder started to pull away at the end.
Yeah,
Um, the Tyrese Haliburton injury kind of put like a damper on my night, if I'm being honest with you, because
I get that,
just
bro.
seeing him go down like with no contact in the second quarter, and like seeing everybody's reaction after he's had like no doubt he had a horrible game last night, but he's had such a fantastic playoff run that I just don't feel it's indicative of him as a
I agree.
player based
Yeah,
on what I've seen all season and in the playoffs. So it's a shame for me to see so many people try to kick him when he's down right now. And in a way that felt almost not like a true analysis of the game, but in a way where it's like they had these like pre-thought opinions of him and then just like sort of are going to use this as like confirmation bias to be like, oh, this guy against one of like the greatest defenses I've ever seen like struggled while he had like an obvious injury. And the thing that really made me upset was Bob Marks. He made some like really insightful comments during the halftime show,
yeah,
and then Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith, who are like two of the more gimmicky guys in sports media, kind of just like shut him down and like I don't know. His soft comments didn't make sense to me because he was still playing. Like it wasn't like he missed the time. Like he didn't like it wasn't really an excuse. Like they went and checked him out and he came back in the game.
yeah.
I want to know what you think, but the player's always going to play. I was kind of disappointed that Rick Carlisle didn't sit him down at a certain point, especially when TJ McConnell had it going and Haliburton was obviously like
Yeah,
struggling.
yeah. So like, kind of like similar to your point, I'm about to bring this stat up. According to StatMuse right now, Halliburton in the playoffs has been averaging 18.6 points, 9.3 assists, and 5.8 rebounds per game through 20 games. Um, and I feel like because it's the playoffs, that's very impressive. Like you said, definitely I'm sad that Halliburton is injured right now. I hope that he can recover in time for game six because I know they're gonna need him. Um, but yeah, I definitely feel like this was the game where people tried to use that injury as how NBA Twitter always is. They try to pile whatever they can say on a guy when he's down. And I feel like just based on the run that he's had this past year, it's it's disrespectful, honestly. He's done so much for the game. I think specifically this year. And even like I'm not the biggest Halliburton fan, but you got to respect what he's doing for not only Indiana but just basketball culture as a whole. So, like I said, I hope he can get back and recover. I do think it's going to be hard because it's only what like a 3 day max wait. Um, because when do they play again?
It's Thursday. They play Thursday, then Sunday again. So
Okay,
no, they
okay.
only have one
So
day of rest, sadly. Well, no, 2 days of rest. Never mind.
yeah, so I mean, I obviously I hope he can get some type of recovery. But I know it's gonna be hard for game six. Other than Halliburton, you gotta give credit to Shea. Gotta really give credit to J-Dub because he did exactly what I was expecting him to, well, not expecting, but I challenged him to basically continue to have that scorer's mentality, and I felt like last game he was basically unguardable, bro. Like anything he did, he was getting to his spots. He was dunking with furiosity, bro. Even taking like hard hits, and he was taking hard hits the previous game as well. So like just the fact that he's able to still be out there and compete at a really high level is really impressive, and that says a lot to his Mamba mentality. Other takeaways, honestly, even though Indiana lost, you can't hang your head that deeply, or you can't hang your head OD, especially when your best player had like 4 points. And they lost by like what, 15? Like somewhere
Lost by
around,
11.
yeah, some like
They only scored 109, bro. Held them below 110.
yeah, so like I feel like losing down by 10 with your best player only scoring 4 points, that's something that could be a positive at some point. And I think honestly to your point, TJ McConnell probably should have been in that game, and they probably should have had Tyrese just wait for game six. Because that, I like we said we were talking yesterday, like we just don't want that to end up like we don't want him to be the next KD in a sense of like him tearing his Achilles or anything like that. We just want to make sure he's good. I guess what were the takeaways that you had from the Thunder? Excuse me, bro.
Thought they shot the ball really well. I was really impressed with that. Case and Wallace had three threes. I believe they were all in the first half. My memory serves me correct. Lou Dort also had three threes, and Aaron Wiggins had four threes, which um, I thought that was really great to see from all of them. Usually hear that the role players play better at home, and I thought that they proved that statement correct today.
Yeah,
Chet also hit a three. It was the first quarter, and it was the first one he took. I feel like he's just so close, bro. Like, I know he didn't have a fantastic offensive game yesterday, and like a lot of it was just like missing easy looks. I really feel like next season he's just gonna come back, and we're just gonna be blown away with how good he is. Because defensively, he's already one of the best players in the league. I feel like the offense is just so close, in my opinion. And for the Pacers, I wanted to give a shout out to um Pascal Siakam. I
yeah,
thought that he was fantastic, especially in the fourth quarter last night. It felt like he like single handedly brought them back. I don't think he missed a
literally.
shot. He had like 14 points. I think he was 5 for 5 and hit two threes. So he just was amazing in the fourth quarter, kind of like the reverse of game four, where he had a really good three quarters and then was kind of silent in the fourth quarter. This one he was pretty quiet three quarters and then just a monster fourth quarter to help them like claw their way back. They still ended up losing, but wasn't his fault. He played a great
Yeah.
game.
I'm looking at his stats right now. Somehow he finished with a -5, but he finished well. He had 6 turnovers, so that's probably why.
He
Um,
did turn the ball over a lot. That's
yeah,
true.
but he had 28 points, 2 blocks, 3 steals, 5 assists, 6 rebounds.
Yeah, it's tough though because once you start
Yeah.
using like him as
Minus
the
15.
primary
So,
initiator, because like Haliburton was being used more as a decoy, like you kind of do expect him to turn the ball over a little bit more because he's not like a fantastic passer and he's not really the most careful with the ball. So all you can really ask for him is like score efficiently. The turnovers is going to happen when he's the primary creator. I was still really impressed with his game. Like 6 turnovers, way more than you would like from him, but you know it is what it is. They needed somebody to go out there, and sometimes you just need somebody to get a bucket, and that's what he did last night. Um, I don't know. It's just a shame for me that I Halliburton really turned me around as a fan this year because I really was the guy who was lower on him, and it was kind of just sad for me to see like him not even really be able to put up a fight.
yeah,
And
it was definitely like
out,
it was crazy kind of watching him play because you could tell just throughout the game he was injured. He didn't even look to score first, and he didn't even do like
yeah,
what Brent was saying with that little hezzy step back type three shot. He doesn't even try to, or he didn't even try to attempt it in that game. I felt like he was more just trying to create separation just to give like a little pass um for other guys, which I understand, but it was really hard to watch because you
and he
could
was
tell
getting the switches he
like
liked too. That's the thing. He was getting the switches on to like Chet that he usually likes to like go to the hezzy step back.
yeah.
Um, and he was just getting he couldn't even create space. It was kind of sad. He definitely pump faked a couple threes that I thought he should have taken, but I don't know. At that point, you just start getting in your head
Yeah.
with the with the calf, I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, the good thing is they're going back to Indy game 6. Honestly, bro, like I feel like Indy got you can never really count them out, man. So I feel like they're gonna have something up their sleeve. I know originally we said OKC in 6. I want to say OKC in 7, bro. Like low key. I feel like Indiana's not gonna go down easily in the game 6, especially after this loss.
If I had seen more from Halliburton in Game 5, I would probably agree, but I think I'm going to stick with 6.
I got you. I
If I'm
mean,
being honest.
see, we're gonna see, bro. We'll see. Cause I
I hope we get 7 though. I've been rooting for the Thunder like low key this whole time just because like I'm a nerd and I want to see like the team that
yeah,
was historically great like finish the job. That would be cool
yeah.
for me. But I do like more than anything I do in 7. So I feel like I'll probably be leaning the Pacers game 6, even though it would be hard for me to imagine going into this series. I don't think they could have a lower 3 point volume than the Thunder, which they did in this game. And the Thunder had shot a higher percentage. They shot 43.8% to the Pacers 36.7%, and they took two more attempts. Indiana is such a good shooting team, and the Thunder is so inconsistent that I would expect Indiana to shoot the ball better. Also, Indiana turned the ball over 22 times, which when you take
Yeah.
into account that Tyrese Haliburton was being used more as a decoy, and he's such like an efficient primary initiator that doesn't turn the ball over. I think that makes a lot of sense. When you're going to other guys to be the primary initiator of your offense who aren't as much used to it, you're going to turn the ball over more. I think they got to look to limit turnovers. I don't know if that's going to TJ McConnell earlier in the game if Halliburton just doesn't have it. or if it's just like sticking with Haliburton as the primary initiator, even though he's not 100%. I think they got to make an adjustment there because you're not going to turn the ball over double the amount of what the Thunder did and come away with the win there. So
Yeah, no, I
I
get
think you gotta look to shoot the ball more and just play more efficiently as a whole. I think that's really what it comes down to.
yeah, I think, in order for me to see the Pacers like somehow get a victory next game, they can't let OKC dictate the pace. Because again, like similarly to game two, it just felt like they were just kind of passing that AAU or not AAU style, but just scared of trying to go in and just trying to move the ball around. Other than Pascal Siakam, I think Siakam was really that guy who was trying to break that. And again, like credit to him, he's an NBA champion, so he knows what he's doing. But yeah, I think just out the gate, man, they just can't let OKC dictate that game. And I think what they did really well in game four was that they made OKC play their game up until that last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, you know. So
Yeah,
I think just really honing down on the home crowd energy. Hopefully the role players just step up and they just got to execute that pace plan and I think they can win. But